What's up, guys? Industry Insider from the Dirt Life Show tonight. We're going to have some fun, man. We're going to talk to Cayden MacCachren and Brandon Schueler of Jagged Racing about their Baja 400 recap. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm so stoked, man, that people are wanting to do this stuff and talk about the racing. And I don't know. It's just really cool to me to see that people want to do race recaps with us and talk to us about all this crazy stuff that's happened. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we're going to talk to Cayden MacCachren and Brandon Schueler of Jagged Racing about their Baja 400 tonight. It's going to be pretty cool, man. I'm pretty stoked. So we'll wait till they log on here. But until then, there's a lot going on, man. I think there's a Legends race going on this weekend in Laughlin. So I think Cayden's probably going to race there 2 weekends in a row, I think. And then I know there's a works race like the following weekend. So dude's probably been super busy. So we'll see what those guys have to say. Jagged X guys probably super hot in Phoenix, Arizona. I know it's hot here too in Lake Elsinore. So we'll let those guys log on real quick and see what they have to say. I'm so pumped. These industry insiders are turning out so cool. Brandon Schueler is going to join us real quick. As you guys can see, I'm at IMG Motorsports, kind of by the cages in the back here. Let's get Brandon on. Brandon Schueler, what's up, dude? How are you?
What's up? How are you?
Doing awesome, man. How's things going?
Not bad, man. Can't complain at all.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for, we call this thing an industry insider just because we like talking to all of our homies about how the racing and stuff was. So give everybody else a little bit of a rundown about what goes on behind the scenes. Let's get Cayden on here real quick. He just requested to join. So then we'll start talking about your guys' Baja 400.
That sounds good.
Cayden MacCachren, what's up, dude?
Hi, George. Hi, Brandon. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing awesome. So I was going to, I kind of complained a little bit about the heat, at the beginning of this, a little introduction. But what is in Phoenix and what is in Vegas today?
It's just over 100, 105 here probably today.
It's probably just a few degrees cooler here in Vegas.
Dude.
We actually, it was cooler last week, but we were down in Baja, so I missed out on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that. Somebody asked what car this was behind us. It's some customer's Polaris Razor over here at IMG Motorsports. So that's what car is behind us. All right, boys. So last weekend, you guys got to go down to Mexico. First of all, I'm jealous because you guys got to eat better tacos than I did. But second, you guys did the Baja 400. How was it, Brandon, from your point of view?
Man, Baja is always an experience that you really can't explain unless you've done it and you've been down there and you've experienced it firsthand. We're still pretty new in comparison to some of the guys that are going down there to Mexico, but it is so much fun from the pre-run in to the race, to the people that are down there that want to be a part of it and want to help you out, whether it's fixing a broken part on the side of the course or just asking for a sticker when you're out pre-running or whatever it is. The whole atmosphere down there is it's awesome. Everyone wants to be a part of Baja, and it definitely shows.
Dude, it's so cool. I didn't get to experience that until the first time this year at the 500, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's I don't know, it's almost like addicting or like a rush, right? Even when you're not one of the locals down there. So came home a couple dollars short than you went with. Yeah, you always spend too much on tacos. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or tickets.
yeah, or running the stop sign, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Oh, do you got a funny story, Cayden?
No, actually, it was Brandon's dad, Bill. Brandon can tell a story, but I'm pretty sure he ran. It's super hard to see the stop signs down there. It's almost like they plan them in places to get you a ticket. But Brandon can tell a story about his dad on the way home. Stop sign.
Yeah. We were on our way back into Ensenada from our house out in Bufadora area, and we kind of take one of the back streets. There's a bunch of construction and stuff going on, so we're taking them one of the back streets, and there's just stop sign after stop sign. And my dad kind of chose to run one and kind of look the other direction or didn't see it. They do sneak out of nowhere down there, but he ran one, and there just happened to be two cops sitting there on a quad, and they pulled him over and actually ended up getting $200 out of him.
Oh, man.
Had to roll it up into a little wad and hand it out the passenger window to the guy. He offered to go to the police station, the whole 9 yards, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we all kind of know that kind of stuff happens down there, and we still go back, and we will go back again. So it's
I
good
feel
stuff.
like it's just like, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like paying the toll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Jeffrey Ricker said that construction was horrible down there, I guess.
Yeah, it always seems like there's construction going on down there, and down there construction takes a lot longer than up here in the States, and even most people know how long construction takes here up in the States. So construction's always bad down there, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like the same intersection is still under construction the next race, right?
Yeah.
Did they fix all that stuff at the bottom of the hill where you go up the hill to the starting line? There was a bunch of shit going on at the bottom of the hill at the 500.
That road is actually so the road going from like the road to Tecate, that road going into the start line is actually all done now. It's still barricaded off. It still has a big old concrete pillar in front of it, but it's actually done. It's actually a really nice road. So they're making some progress, but it's definitely not perfect.
That's what they got me for $80 because our buddy James Hill from IMG Motorsports, he had to get on the gas and cut off a semi truck to go through there, and he didn't speak enough Spanish to get out of it, so I had to help him. And instead of using his wallet, he had to use my wallet.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Worked out good for him, right?
Right.
All right. So, give us a little bit of a rundown on how you felt while you were down there, Cayden. Is that your first Mexico experience, or you've been down there a bunch of times racing?
No, probably 2015 or 2016 was my first time to Mexico down for the Lucas Oil short course races down there. But maybe 2017 I started going down there pre-running with my dad, and that was my first Mexico experience other than Ensenada. And then this year I was lucky enough to partner with Jagged X and go down and race San Felipe, and that was my full real Baja experience with the pre-running and me actually racing myself. But yeah, exactly what Brandon said earlier. It's an experience. Everything's different than the States.
Yeah, that experience pre-running though, like you can't pay for those experiences, man. They're just phenomenal.
Yeah,
crazy.
Me and my dad, Rob, obviously, we go down really early to pre-run. This time, we went down I think the Friday before the race on Saturday, so the Friday a week before, and spent all those days down there pre-running. I think we did the whole course 3 times and some of it 4 times. So you over that week and a little bit, you come across some stuff that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when we were pre-running for the 500, I was getting ready to shut a gate, and I'm like, oh, there's a car down the way. It actually ended up being your dad, and he just like zoomed by. He's all, thanks, peace out, and just
I think I might have been driving. I'm not sure, but I remember seeing guys in the KMC UTV, I believe.
Oh, it was you? Yeah,
I was driving. He rides shotgun with me, actually, which I'm sure a lot of people can't say that Rob Max riding shotgun with him, but most of the time, I drive the perimeter, and he takes notes and tells me.
Nice. Dude, that's perfect then. Well, shout out to you guys for seeing us on the trail.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Kurt. I don't know how to say Kazmarak. He says Baja Burro or El Poblano. I'm going El Poblano. What do you guys go with?
Man, that's tough to say. Everything down there is so freaking good. So I'm not even going to take a stand on this. I like trying it all.
That El Poblano down in San Vicente or whatever was so good.
I'll go with El Poblano for.
Yeah. Cayden and I just became best friends.
The Baja Burro burritos are pretty good, and they're huge if you get the big one.
Yeah.
All right, so give us a little bit of a rundown on your experience down there with Jagged X, because I know you've already teamed up with them before, right, Cayden?
Yeah, actually, we the first race we did together was the San Felipe, and I had never driven a race car in the desert racing anyway, really. I had miles in the trophy truck at the 2020 Vegas Trino, but other than that, I haven't raced in the desert, so I got my feet wet in San Felipe, which a lot of people know it's one of the gnarliest races of the year. We actually came out with a win there. Awesome. But raced the Baja 500 with Jagged, and then yes, the Baja 400 this year.
How did that whole program come about, Brandon?
We talked to Rob a little bit about it, and some of the guys over at BFG, a common sponsor, and we kind of talked about it. We reached out to Rob a little bit at one of the races. I think it was maybe at Parker, and we talked about having him race 1,000 with us, and because it seems like we always need another driver, and so he talked about it. He talked with Cayden. We chatted back and forth a little bit, and there's a conflict. A race was the same weekend, I think it's 1,000 the first time that we talked about it. And then your dad reached out again, and he's like, hey, I think this is something that we can make happen. Doesn't look like anything conflicts. And, if you guys are still interested, we'd like to be a part of it. And obviously we said, yeah, and it's kind of the rest is history, but it's been working out really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the stars all basically aligned, and it's probably pretty nice because you guys got it done, I don't want to say early, but you got it done early enough where you can get some practice runs in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's probably got to feel good, at least for you, Cayden, because, I mean, racing works and stuff is awesome. Like, you're doing fantastic in works, and we can talk about that another time, but it's totally different. It's not even close to the same. Like, so to get those practice runs and understand the team and the inner workings of Brandon's team and Jagged X, like, it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's always difficult coming to new people, but thankfully the Jagged X team is, I'm sure many people know, they're really they welcome with open arms, and we're always laughing and giggling about something. So it was awesome to team up with them.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to bring up, Brandon, is like James Hill and I were talking about it here at IMG, and the first thing that I said, he goes, what do you got going on? I was like, oh, I want to talk to Brandon and Cayden. He's like, dude, the OGs, holy cow. So when you think about like your whole program, because you've been doing side-by-sides for over 10 years now, right?
We started racing 4-players in 2007. My first year racing in a UTV, and a Rhino actually, was in 2006. And then we teamed up with players in 2007, right with the release of the 800 Razor, the initial Razor. So we've been with players ever since.
Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, so literally OGs. Like, I don't think I even knew a side-by-side existed until like 2009.
I was 6 years old in 2008, so I definitely.
Look at him. He's talking trash on both of us.
Right. That's awesome.
So yeah, it's totally different now, though. And I wanted to get a little bit more like of the perspective that I was talking about, because Cayden's like a young up-and-comer. He's got the adrenaline going all the time. Like, for you to see what he has, compared to what you've learned over the last 10 years, like, I don't know, what's the dynamic there? Because to me, that's a perfect dynamic, right? It's like the student and teacher kind of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. The racing has changed a lot since we first started racing. It started out as, if you finished a race, you won a race. Really, when we first started racing, the first couple of years, if you finished Vegas to Reno, you won it. You were maybe one of two finishers, it seemed like. So the racing has definitely changed. It's not that way anymore. I mean, you got to be on your toes. Cayden knows how fast these guys are. They're pedal to metal the entire time. It's crazy how hard these guys push. So having a fresh driver in there, someone that, and he's obviously a wheel. He's been doing it his whole life. He knows driving cars. Having someone new in the car and, a fresh face in the car is definitely something that we'd love to have, and we're thankful to have him because it's keeping us fast. So
yeah, and not to mention, it kind of gives that whole like renewed vision to the whole team, right? Because you get to see it from a different perspective. Oh, Kyle combs my hair said e-bike God. I don't know who that's for.
That's me. E-bike a couple times, and I used his e-bike because I don't have one of my own, and might have used his dad's actually, and he gave me the fast one luckily. So we rode up basically from his house up to the mountains, and I smoked him on the fast e-bike.
Nice, dude. I love the e-bike, dude. I got an intense taser. I just got rid of it actually, but those things are so sick. Have you tried one yet, Brandon?
A couple of my buddies have them. I haven't actually got on one because I know I'm gonna want one. So
yeah, dude, you are, and they're not cheap either. I went out to some trails. They were in Chandler. I forgot what mountain it was, but it's like black something, like it was like black lava right there in Chandler. And I went out to something in Scottsdale that were so sick, dude. Like you would love to be out there.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the Baja stuff. First of all, I think it's really cool that you're giving Cayden the opportunity, Brandon, because not many teams do that, right? They want to hang on to their team and they want to keep things the same. I personally think it's awesome that you guys are giving him the opportunity to do it. I know that you guys have some partners that align together and it helps out a lot. But what was the catalyst behind it?
Kind of the right place at the right time, in my opinion. Like I said, we reached out to him before and the stars didn't align. And then at this point in time, it we were able to make it work. So it really was kind of the right place at the right time. The schedules lined up. He wanted to drive in the desert. He wanted to drive a car in the desert, and like I said, we're looking for a fresh face in the car, and someone that can wheel the car, and someone that I trust that is going to go out there and get the car to the next driver or get the car to the finish line.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I've actually had, because of the knowledge that you're dropping right now, like I had a couple people reach out to me last week that they were wondering, these are youngsters, they're probably 16, 17 years old, some were 18, but they wanted to know how they could keep racing. They were scared that they wouldn't be able to afford going racing next year. And I told them, I said, well, you know what? Like, maybe try to team up with some other drivers. Maybe try to share cars and do stuff like that. What kind of advice would you be able to give those youngsters?
You know, one of the things that I've always said, and you know, it's hard to say that you're not necessarily going to be in a car, but go and help a team. Mm-hmm. Go and help pit. Go and do whatever it is that they need help with. Offer any support that you can offer. Go and join a team, and the opportunity might arise that you may either get in the car or drive the car or something like that, or they may see, you know, your dedication to the team and look at it a different way and want to provide that opportunity. So that's something that I've always noticed, or I've always mentioned to people that have asked me that same question, is get out there, try and help a team as much as you can. Obviously time is money, and we all understand that. Everyone's got jobs, everyone's got lives that they got to live. But if you're going to the races and you can help out a team, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, and don't get bummed either. Like, if you're going from the driver's seat to go help a team, don't get frustrated or bummed. Like, use that as a positive thing. Use that as a positive change, and then start your program again with somebody else, man. I think that's fantastic advice. What would you think, Cayden?
Yeah, similar thing to what I'm doing actually this weekend with Brent Fox in a 6100 truck. He invited me earlier this year to come ride with him. And, the passenger seat's not too far from the driver's seat. So, of course, I said, yeah.
Nice.
Even going to the best in desert races with him and just riding, I'm still around. You know, I still walk through tech and see people and shake hands and, you know, just put my face out there. And then even time in the desert is time in the desert. And the more time in the desert you get is better. So I use more terrain and all that stuff's good for your career.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And plus, like you said, it's kind of like, it's just raising the level, right? Because you're learning what other people do. It's like, how awesome would it be if you were Toto Wolff and you got to spend the weekend with the Red Bull team guys and look at their whole program? Like, that doesn't happen in F1, right? But you guys are both talking about it like you can do it in off-road racing. Like, that's the sickest thing ever.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you get a peek under the hood for sure. And they let you into their program. If you're there helping them, you're involved. You're help working on the car, you're help prepping the car, whatever it is that you might be doing, you are involved in that race team. And you get to know their tips, their tricks, their secrets. You know, a lot of teams are very secretive about what they do and how they do it, and it's pretty cutthroat. They, if they find out another team is asking questions about their stuff, they don't like it. So the fact that if someone's willing to bring you in and teach you some of that stuff, take the opportunity and do it.
They call it the recipe for success for a reason.
Right.
Miles MM said, who's your favorite co-driver? And I think that's probably for you.
Pat. Gotta be Pat.
That's your favorite co-driver.
I'm going to have to answer Miles because he's the one that answered the question or asked the question. So
yeah.
I'm going to have to say Miles.
Pat and Miles, both guys that ride in the Jagged X Polaris Razor. Pat's been riding with me all year and at the 500 miles road with Brandon. But the co-drivers are a big part of the race, how the race happens. So,
that's actually a really good question then. So, did you learn anything from those guys that you can take into the program this weekend?
Yeah, it goes back and forth. You know, I learned stuff with the GPS in front of me in the truck that I can tell Pat or Miles, and like, hey, I noticed that this helps Brent in the 6100. Can you do this for me, or can you work on this for me? And that's actually something we did with Pat, with having him read the GPS a little bit, either if we're in the dust or a blind rise. Most of the blind rises down in Mexico we have marked because we're able to pre-run. But it's more time and you're always learning. But a co-driver is a huge part of the race.
Fish just said keep an eye on your rearview mirror this weekend. Does that mean they're starting behind you?
Yeah, he's racing with one of the 7200 trucks he's been racing with. He texted me actually yesterday and said, hey, don't nerf us, because he's racing in the 6100 class in a 7200. Hey, don't nerf us when you lap us. I said, no. I want to be on Fishistics. I'm gonna send you into the river, but
Sweet. Yeah. Now you got Pat all riled up, Brandon. He said, "Crap."
I'm kind of surprised that Pat figured out how to get on this.
yeah, me too.
This is a
Hey.
tech savvy thing.
Yeah. He's gonna give you a bunch of crap later. Yeah. Then, okay. So I don't know if that was you that wrote that, Brandon, or somebody else. But Jagged X said, "Who's your favorite crew chief?"
No, that would be my dad. Yeah. So yeah, he's chiming in here too. So that's good.
Yeah. Right on.
I'm kind of surprised he figured out how to get on here too.
Dude, look at the technology game is just elevated in off-road tonight.
I know.
So first of all, I'm so pumped because it's a lighthearted conversation that we're having now, but it sounds like this vibe really goes along with the team. Like when you went with the team down to Mexico, Cayden, did you feel that way when you got there?
Yeah, right off the bat in San Felipe, things kind of came together. I mean, I have a very busy schedule. Everybody does. I have a very busy schedule, and we went down to San Felipe, and I think I drove the car 2 or 3 miles, and talk to those guys for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But right off the bat, you feel at home and you feel like they're family. If I can say that, you feel like they're family. You can talk to them, and something about racing is it's very intense, and sometimes you have to be hard on people to get them to understand. And you want to make sure that you don't offend anybody while you do that. So it's good to have people you get along with.
Dude, Cayden's so young, but he's so mature, Brandon. I think you agree with that.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's something we talk about all the time is kind of a rule of our team is the heat of the moment when you're working on the car or you're frustrated with the car or something, you may say something that may offend you or may say something that pisses someone off, and we all kind of have that same thing is, hey, if I piss you off too bad, tell me about it. But it's the heat of the moment. It does happen, and it sucks that it happens, but it is one of those things that it's racing and emotions run high for sure.
And to me, that's a good sign that we're in the heat of a moment because it means it matters to everybody and everybody's real.
Yeah. If you didn't have that, if they were just lollygagging around, then you wouldn't be pumped up enough to win the race. Right?
Everybody
exactly
really wants to win the race, and that's a really good sign to me.
So now that you guys have kind of got a feel for each other and what things are going on, we're going to go back and talk about the race. But do you guys have plans to do some more races together?
Yeah, we're definitely doing the 1,000 for sure. So yeah. we'll be at the 1,000. We're still trying to figure everything out logistically on that. That's a long race with a lot of miles and a lot of pieces have to come together. But we are definitely doing that one for sure. So we'll be working together on that one.
Awesome. Well, I hope I can make it down there because I'll definitely want to hang out with you guys. Yeah, John Hupper said thick skins. I don't know if it's necessarily thick skins, but it is thick skin for a lot of those reasons. But there's also just a mutual respect. I mean, like John works it with NASCAR and stuff like that, tempers flare. I mean, in any type of motorsport, right? But you just have to know your crew and your team, right? And at the end of the day, you all care about each other and care about winning more than anything.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all working together for the end goal, which is winning the race and winning the championship.
Yeah, exactly. And so how do you guys qualify success then? Because you guys, I think you placed 6th at the Baja 400, right?
Yep.
To me, that's a very successful race because a lot of people, went down the board because of penalties. A lot of people didn't finish. A lot of people had catastrophes. There was a lot of different accidents that happened. To me, that's a massive win. How do you guys qualify it, and what do you guys think of the performance?
So for me, how do I qualify success? So as you can tell behind me, I grew up in a family or with a dad that was winning everything. So as soon as I started racing, it was win everything. And maybe for the first little bit, that was my mindset. You got to win. But as you become more mature in your racing career, you realize you can take a second or take a third, and as long as your goal, you set a goal and you try to reach your goal. But it's better to be smarter than faster. Is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'll let you answer the same question, Brandon, but let me interject here. So a guy that you guys may or may not know, a championship motocross racer, Ricky Carmichael, said you win your championships on your worst days, not your best days. Yep. So it's how you handle all the adversity, how you handle the things that are faced or put in front of you on your bad days that win those championships. And I think you guys can both agree with that, being in the off-road industry for so long.
For sure.
Yeah,
how do you qualify a good successful race then, like you guys had, Brandon?
Yeah, so honestly, with desert racing is a finish. really is what it comes down to. We're fighting for a championship at the beginning of the season. That is our goal. We've done really well at fighting for championships. So that to me is is the most successful thing. Is you got to finish the race no matter what.
Right.
Doesn't matter what happens to the car. It doesn't matter how many times you break, how many times you got to get out of the car, fix it, whatever you got to do to get that car to the finish line, whether it's dead last or not, get that car to the finish line. And that's always been our mentality. So for me, that is a huge aspect of it. So that, and obviously getting everyone together and making sure that everyone is doing what they want to be doing, and we're working towards the same goal. We're out there having fun doing it. That's a good day racing for me.
Yeah, exactly. 299 Mom said, Fast Guys 102, MacCachren's our class act. The guys over at X Travel Suspension, I just talked with James today. He said, it's so awesome to see Cayden Mac and Baja making it happen. I agree with that one because I've seen him at Works and he kills it out there. So it's nice to see him in Baja as well. Nice work to Jagged X team, and love the milestone award. So I couldn't agree more. And coming from both of you guys, Cayden obviously being a winning Works racer now and working his way up, but being in a winning family, one of the baddest drivers in the world, basically. And then Brandon, you guys have many, many championships and many, many wins under your guys' belt. So for you guys to be so humble and offer up that knowledge and understanding of what it actually means to be there at the races is pretty respectful and admirable on my part to be able to hear that, because you guys are putting a real world aspect of this racing into it. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Bought my BFG KM3s last spring from Jagged X.
Nice.
Yeah, so you might know John Hupperts. He actually has residence in Phoenix as well as, I forgot where it was, Michigan or Minnesota.
Okay.
Milestone every year. I raced Brandon's old Razor 1000.
Yep.
Eva Star Racing. You remember that bad boy?
Yep, sure do. That was one of my personal cars. It was a NA car, XP 1000 2-seater. So yeah, I'm very familiar with that car.
Nice. All right, so I didn't go to the Baja 400, but all the research that I did, it looked super one-lined and just insane silty dusty. So give us a little bit of an understanding how the course was.
So going down to Pier on the Friday before the race, looking at the course map, you can already tell that it's similar terrain as the Baja 500 down in Mexico. I hate to say it, but a lot of the course has been the same the last couple of years, or has used the same parts, and you use the same parts over and over again. They get super chewed up and super rocky. But Baja 400 had a couple new parts, but a lot of it was done before, and people that have done it over and over are going to have an advantage. So we just make sure we do our pre-running and do our homework. But Baja 400, yeah, it was super rough, super rocky for the most part. But if you do your homework, you have it covered.
Sure.
Did you get to drive too, Brandon?
Yeah, I did. I think from 240 to the finish, and a lot of that was pretty much the same exact course that I did at the 500. A couple new sections, but for the most part, it was virtually the same course. So I was pretty familiar with it going down and rerunning part of that section. But yeah, no, Baja always challenges you for sure. And same thing to touch on what he said. I know you probably saw some of the hill climbs out there. They're just so chewed up over the years, and trucks are getting stuck and buggies are getting stuck. And, we're thankful that we have 4-wheel drive, and that makes a huge difference. But it's incredible how beat up it gets and how nasty it gets out there.
Dude, those 10 cars were struggling so bad. Jamie Campbell just from Raceco USA just chimed in and said, I want to have a head-to-head battle race with Cayden.
Do it. Brandon's
Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, Cayden, do you know how to ride dirt bikes good?
Yeah, I've ridden dirt bikes pretty much all my life. It's gotten less and less over the years as it became busier with work and racing. But yeah, I still love to get on two wheels, and we got some pretty good single track trails out in the desert by actually where they run the mint race up in the mountains. So yeah, I love dirt bikes, and sometimes I even love dirt bikes more than my Razor.
Dude, right there with you. Sometimes they're more dangerous than the Razor, but we still love them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and John Hupper said, just don't run stop signs. Thanks for poking us, John. So the course was gnarly, but how was it for you guys? Where did you start at? What'd you have to work through? Give us a little bit more of the details that maybe some of our audience hasn't seen or heard on social media.
So we started 23rd, I believe. I believe there were 26 maybe entered. I'm not fully sure how many started.
Oh, so you were way back.
You know, like that's you don't see very many classes in the desert nowadays with that many entries in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. UTV, mainly UTV Turbo, has been the biggest class in the desert. The most competitive with the most manufacturers, and it's an awesome class. It's super competitive, and the vehicles are so capable now that at the Baja 500 we had a bottleneck. I don't remember what race mile it was, but it was a silt line up a hill, and you just see trees and stuff around you, and you're like, well, we got to sit here and wait. And Pat Stone, he was tuned in. Told us, that's not what we do in a razor. The razor will go up that mountain. So, we took right, put it in low gear, and just crawl up the mountain. I'm like, wow, it just went up that. Like, hats off to the Polaris razor, because man, that thing's incredible.
Dude, something that you wouldn't have learned had you not been in it with another team, right? That's perfect example right there.
Right.
And so when stuff like that happens, are you like, okay, I can pass 10 dudes right here? Or are you just like, okay, everybody goes right behind you? Or like, how does it actually work?
Yeah, I don't have too much experience with bottlenecks. Actually, we had some bad ones at the 400, but the 500, we had fell back a little bit early in the race we actually had we broke apart, but we fell back early in the race, and the next 100 or so miles we were catching a mile blurting up on the road over mics, and we got to I think Coyote Ranch, and came around a rise, and Blurton's sitting right there. I'm like, my eyes went like, everybody knows Blurton's a bad dude in the UTV, so you see him, and you're like, well, we're sitting at the bottleneck all here in a valley, and you see him go up a line, and you just fall up the line. And yeah, it's cool racing with you guys.
Yeah, it is. And so what? Give us some of the backstory when you got in the car, Brandon.
Entertaining day. I don't think.
Brandon, I don't know.
Because Cayden,
There you go.
He did a lot of the work for me. And you there?
Yeah.
The audio cut out for a second. You said Cayden did a lot of the work for you, so it sounds like he moved up through the back.
Yep. So Cayden definitely did a lot of the work for me. He started way back. We had a couple of mechanical issues right from the get-go, and it put him back even further than that. And he did work. There's actually a picture floating around that I saw today of him passing 2 cars in a corner. Pretty wild picture. If you get a chance to find it, it's pretty cool. But he definitely did a lot of the work, and they hammered through and got the car to me actually in a pretty good position. We had, I think, 1 mechanical on course. Got it fixed pretty quick and splashed the car with fuel a couple times, but just kind of picked through the course and made sure that the car got to the finish line. That was our main goal. And then, it was a good day of racing. We had some really cool areas. That coastline is really cool, pretty fast paced, and then some super rough stuff too, like Baja loves to offer.
Yeah, it looked like it was so gnarly. Like I still can't get over how beat up the single track is. Like, because you can't go anywhere, right? Like we just talked about. Cayden said you can go up and find a trail or make your own. But some of those spots, like, are in those little valleys. You have no choice but to go through the ruts the whole way.
Yeah, actually, at the 400 this year, we got set back in the beginning, and actually started with the 516 car. There were probably only 12 cars behind us at the start. So we got the race mile 203 or 204. We had up quite a bit of time, and you come around a corner, and the guy in front of you stopped, and you're like, which way do you go to get around them? Because that's your first instinct as a racer. But you pull out and you look in front. There were maybe 10 or 15 cars up there, and you look to your left, look to your right. There's no way around. You're sitting in a line at that point, and there's nothing to do. There's actually 2 bottlenecks like that, one right after another. So that kind of killed our momentum on the day at the 400.
So do you guys think you guys could have made it further had some of that stuff not hit you?
Me and Pat, my co-driver, we were on a roll over from 140 over Mike's to 200. I'm sure we made up quite a bit of time because I charged over Mike's road and all that stuff. And, we didn't have very much dust from 140 over to 200 over Mike's.
Oh,
so
nice.
I think from 200 to 240 where Brandon got in, we had a fast, the crossover road. We hopped on the crossover road for 30 miles there. And I feel like I can charge and, haul blood on some of those, the fast graded roads. So I felt like, we were probably maybe 10th on course at that point. And I felt like we could have gotten up further, but it is what it is in that racing.
Dude, look at freaking Ken Block over here getting all drifty on the crossover roads.
Right.
And Pat just said that was a badass pass. Pat, if you can send me like a way to figure it out how to look at that pass, I can show everybody.
Yeah, or I can't.
Yeah, maybe Pat can real quick. so I can look at it. Yeah, and then Phoenix Robert said you guys are sick. I couldn't agree more, Phoenix Robert. That is pretty cool that they were able to do that. So when you got the car, Brandon, do you remember about roughly what position you guys were, or I know I'm correct that it's not.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about was it 9th or 10th at physical, but at correct time we started so far back in our pack that you never really know where you're at until it all starts working down. I know at one point we got up to I think fifth on corrected time. We were trying to calculate corrected time. So yeah, you really never know where you're going to go, but you had asked him a question about, do you think you could have made it a little bit further up in the packet had you not had some of those issues? And at every single race we go through that, and we're calculating the times of how much downtime do we have here, or did we make a mistake here? Did I blow a corner there, or whatever? And you just add all that stuff up, and it kills you to think about stuff like that. And you beat your head against the wall, but no, that's definitely something that you have to pay attention to, and how to try and stop those things from happening.
Yeah, and those are the exact things that come up at the race debrief at the end or on the drive home, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we got the picture right here. So Cayden's the one in the middle. Oops,
Wrong way.
Cayden's the one in the middle, passing. Dude, that's so rad.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Dude, did you go right through the middle of that bad boy or what?
It kind of can't, it's one line all the way down a fast road, and you got two cars dust ahead of you, and you're just trying to stay on the guy in second's bumper, so you're not in the big flume of dust. And you're like, I pre-run pretty well, so I know the 90-degree corner's coming up, and we came into the corner. I broke super late. The car in front of me was trying to pass. You're going into a corner with three guys, so the guy in first is trying to keep the guy behind him. The guy in second is trying to pass the guy without you getting by him. So normally when you're third into a corner, you can't come out first, but I knew the corner very well. So we came in there and split the middle, and it was close, but we got them both, and thank God, because we were going into another fast section, and you're always nervous in those sections with you can't see, and you're just somebody else.
You get stuck behind them. Well, one thing that I kind of noticed with that was because Cayden has so much, we'll call it short course experience, but a lot of the guys that come from either motocross or like Lucas Oil or even Works, Brandon, you can probably agree with this. Like, they don't get scared when situations like that come up, right? Like, they're just like, This is my playground. I know how to get by with this much space. Like, it's no problem for me. And there's a million guys in the desert that can do well, but maybe some of the guys that are beginning or some of the guys that are watching the show here, that can get scary being that close to somebody else, right? Especially in dust behind two cars going through them.
Yeah, I was coming down the road, I always want to wear a heart rate monitor when I race, especially the Works races, just to show, prove to myself how calm I do stay, which I believe I stay calm. But coming down, I'm kind of snickering coming down like what's coming from just because I knew the corner really well, and yes, I have the short course experience that you were talking about.
Yeah, we used to do that actually in the short course races. I would wear our heart rate monitor, and I would wear a GPS puck on the top, or have it on the top of the car, and we could see stuff like all the way from going into the first turn at Wild Horse Pass was something like the first push into the corner, and your dad's Pro 4 would be massive compared to this, but we hit 18 Gs going at that first whip going in the corner, and you could see your heart rate spike up almost like 15 or 20 beats per minute going through that corner. It's crazy. Like going over the finish line, nice steady heart rate. Going in that first turn, whoo, whoo. Yeah. But yeah, so it's probably, I really like this dynamic here. Like, it's probably cool for you to see him doing all these things, Brandon. I mean, maybe it scares the crap out of you sometimes he's driving the car, but like, it's cool to see.
Yeah, no, I love seeing stuff like that. I love the fact that our car gets pushed. We learn something new pretty much every race, or every other race, whatever. But yeah, we definitely learn stuff with someone new behind the wheel. Whether it's to make the car better or stronger or whatever it needs to be. It definitely it pushes us as the guys that are prepping the car, building the car to make our car faster, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So have you noticed that since this last race, or since you guys have been talking with Cayden and like having him on board, have you noticed an elevation in the team's demeanor?
Yeah, I think everyone's excited to see it. and it goes back to fresh faces. People want new blood on the team. We're constantly going through people. We have a good core group of guys that's friends and family that are there with us no matter what. But we've always got other guys that are cycling in and out. And for us, we like those core guys. We like having a steady team that we know who's going to be there. It's the consistency, it's these group of guys. Cayden's going to be in the car, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. So that's definitely something that we enjoy. But yeah, I think everyone's obviously a win at San Felipe definitely boosts the morale of the team too. That helps a ton. And then awesome finish at the 500. So stuff like that, man, it obviously is a huge morale boost, and it keeps all of our guys wanting to come back for more.
Dude, I couldn't agree more. I'm glad that you guys are doing so well, and it's really cool that you have brought a young gun on to be a part of the program, and in my opinion help the program as well. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see you guys at the 1000. So to kind of finish off the 400 though, like you cross the finish line, you guys start figuring out the results and stuff. It's always better to win, right? But you got to be proud of your guys' efforts. You guys faced some adversity, you guys pushed through it and got everything done. Sitting there at the finish line, you guys got to be pumped.
Yeah. So this race, unfortunately, we had a mishap right off the start line, and as soon as that happens, you're like, you think the worst right away. Like, dang, I'm not going to be able to make it back here tonight. To see the finish line flags. So coming back to the finish line flags, you're like, thank God we got here, and it saved our butt with a bunch of points. But yeah, exactly what you said.
So Brandon, does Cayden help you guys behind the scenes too? I know that he preps his own car for works and stuff, and he's pretty OCD about it. So does he help give you guys tips, or you guys just hope you get out of the way, Cayden?
We definitely try to talk about it. It's something that we're going to push more for the 1000. Try and get some more input from him for the prep for the 1000. Try and go out and do a little bit more testing and make sure that he's more comfortable in the car. He's going to be in it for a long time. We're all going to be in the car for a long time. So getting him more comfortable in the car and making sure that he's comfortable with the way it rides and handles is obviously the most important part. But him living in Vegas, us in Phoenix, it's tough to get him out here and have him do stuff like that. But we're definitely making a push for that for upcoming races for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be cool just for him to learn it too, right? I mean, like, it's not like he hasn't been around it for a long time, but it's always, like you mentioned at the beginning, our audience is very hungry and thirsty for knowledge. And I think that anytime you can be with a team or see how other people do it, it's massive knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So it's that look your dad put in there. Yeah, Cayden, get your butt to the shop.
I just invite.
Speaking of that, actually, as we wind down this little interview, I would like to come out and see you guys at the shop one time, next time I'm in Phoenix, if that's cool with you, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you. It's a pretty humble little place. We've got a little shop here, just my car or our personal stuff, really. But yeah, it's full of parts and full of some cool shit. So we'd love to have you come out and check it out.
Yeah, I'd like to get a little bit more of your guys' background too. Like, you guys have been in the UTV industry so long, you guys could definitely teach this guy a lot too. So maybe we'll have a show with you or something in the next couple months here. I think that would be pretty good, man. We could get behind the scenes.
I'd wait till it cools down a little bit and come here to where we can actually enjoy sitting out of the shop and walking around a little bit.
Oh, I agree, man. I spent a lot of time in Arizona. I used to live down in Tucson, so I know the feeling. But man, I think it's so cool. All right, Cayden, give us a little bit of a background on or give us a little bit of an understanding of what you have going on in the next couple weeks here. Yeah,
so it's tomorrow. Actually, I might be leaving in the next hour or so here. I'm headed down to Laughlin to race the Best in Desert Laughlin Desert Classic with 100 truck. I'll be riding. Tomorrow's qualifying, and then Saturday, Sunday's the race. So we're hoping for a good result there. Then next weekend we're racing Works in Glen Helen. So I got back from the Works race out in Cedar maybe almost 3 weeks ago and went straight to Baja almost. So I haven't had much time here at home to prep the car, get ready for that, and that's always a scramble getting ready. But Works is next weekend. Might head down to the UTV World Championships. That's a weekend. That's 2 weekends after that, and then the next thing, I'm sure I have another Works race or two in there. And then the next thing's the Baja. The Baja requires a lot of time and to even get to and pre-run and plan. So that's.
Hey, Brandon, you think this dude likes racing a little bit or what?
Right? Yeah, you can hardly even tell.
Yeah, I won't say no to getting in a race car, just so everybody knows out there.
Yeah, so I definitely think you should make it out to the UTV World Championships. You have the opportunity, Cayden. I get the opportunity to be a commentator for the live feed, so I'll be pumping you guys up if you guys are out there. So it'll be cool to talk about you guys and have a little fun with all you.
Maybe the biggest UTV race of the year. It's one of the biggest off-road races of the year. Last year down in Havasu, going to see all the people. It's insane to see. So always got to make that one.
Yeah, for sure. I got to race an RS1 there last year. Craig Scanlon gave me one, and we got to have a little bit of fun in that thing. That was pretty cool, man. I had a great time doing that. Yeah, there you go. Rose Pillier race. I don't know how to say it, but maybe Bill can make you some tacos too. Hey, I never turned down a taco. I'll tell you what. If Bill wants to put bread.
Right?
Yeah, and then 299 Mom says you do Mesquite. Yeah, so you probably will do Mesquite, huh, Cayden?
There's a works race in Mesquite somewhere in there. I don't plan that far ahead.
Yeah, you probably can't. You got too much going on.
Yeah, I can't plan. I mean, I have my idea of what's going to happen. Works races are pretty simple compared to Baja and stuff. But yeah, Mesquite's coming up maybe at the end of October.
Well, we're gonna go over and hang out with the Jagged X guys. Maybe have a show with them. But I'd also like to do it with you and your dad.
Yeah.
Or if your dad's too busy or you're too busy, we can come up to Vegas and have a little bit of fun and do a show up there.
That'd be awesome. I love what you're doing with the show. It's the effort you put into the show. I notice it. A lot of people notice it, but you're staying consistent of doing shows, maybe even multiple shows a week, and I really appreciate the effort for the off-road community.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. All right, Brandon, give us a little bit of an understanding of what you got going on for the rest of the year.
So same thing, not quite as many races as Cayden's got going on, but more racing for sure. World Championships is on our books right now. And we've got a big push for the 1,000 too. We're sitting third in points for the 1,000. And then we gotta try and get that top box for the 1,000. So we're going to make a really hard push for the 1,000. I'm also building a new chase truck in the same time. And a couple other things. I'm actually working on a 2-seat race car as well. So I've got that ball rolling. So we got a bunch of fires going on right now, but we're trying to get through them all and get to the end of the year.
All I heard was more race cars.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was like, how many seats is Brandon going to fill, man? Mary Duncan said, ask Cayden if he's going to get a new race car for next year works.
Man, I've had this. So end of 2018, I actually just started racing in 2019 at the Work Series. I haven't been racing for very long. A lot of people think you've been in a race car all your life, and that's not the truth. I only have 2 full behind me. I've just been a long time, so I got a lot of knowledge and stuff. New car for next year for works? Probably not. My car's got 3 championships on years. We ran 2 classes last year. We're leading the Pro Stock Championship this year. So I don't know. My car is pretty tried and true, so I don't think about changing it very much.
Yeah, go out the old school mentality from Dad. Hey, one last question that I wanted to ask you, Brandon. Do you guys have a requirement that makes Cayden not be able to get in a race car if he does crappy at school?
I think that should be something that we have to – straight A's or bust.
Good thing I'm not in school anymore. Get my butt.
There you go.
You can't so we're good. I don't know where my report cards are. You can't find them. They're in the
There we go. I like a style, man. Whatever you got to do to get in the race car. John Harper said he'll look for you guys at the 1,000. I'm part of an RS1 team doing the RS1 challenge. Oh, did you hear about that?
Yeah, that maybe
crazy.
Yeah, the racing tracks guy at all the Best in Desert races, he's participating in that, and he went down to Pure in the 500 in his race car. I was wanting just to get a feel of the things, and man, I'd love to do it, but I couldn't imagine doing it at the same time. So it's an awesome thing, and I'm really interested to see how many can get to the finish and how far off hopefully our time they are.
So check this out. So I got a couple funny stories, and not to divert from the conversation, but so David Clay, we had him on the show in Baja at the 500 because he wanted to talk about it. And so he started talking about the RS1 challenge, and so him, Dave Cole and a bunch of other guys are going to do this RS1 challenge. And so they called in and told us about their strategies and stuff. Well, first of all, the most amazing thing was David Clay. He's like, I'm going to pre-run the course. Do you guys want to go with me? And I was like, we can't. We have this certain schedule that we have to follow with the content, the videos, and all this thing. So unfortunately, we can't. He got up in the morning, pre-ran the whole course solo in his RS1 with nobody around him, and knocked it out in like, I don't even know how long. It was record time in my opinion.
We were eating tacos and Valley Tea for dinner at maybe 4 or 5 p.m. and he was going over mics, and he planned was to go back to Ensenada, and it was 4 or 5 p.m. I'm like, we're gonna go to bed. You're gonna go to Ensenada? Like, it didn't make sense.
He texted me in the morning and he's like, yeah, I did it, no problem. I'm like, dude, you're nuts.
That's crazy.
I tried.
But they all have different strategies, right? Like Dave Cole was telling me that his strategy was he's gonna build a bulletproof car. Zollinger Racing's gonna build this awesome car for him. It's gonna be bulletproof. Middle of the way of the 1000, he's just gonna take a nap. Have the guys rebuild it, give them like a fresh car, and then hit the road again.
Yeah.
I was like, that's one hell of a strategy right there, buddy.
Right?
That solo thing's definitely a strategy thing.
Dude, it's going to be nuts. But it's cool that he put that program together, and I'm really proud to see all those guys cross the finish line when they do.
Sure, it'll be an accomplishment.
Great vehicle. Yep.
100%. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys when you guys do go down to the Baja 1000, maybe even before then. But kick some butt on those races, Cayden, coming up. And then obviously, Brandon, you got a workload coming up too. So keep kicking butt in the shop. So I really appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate being on here.
Yeah, no problem. All right, give shouts outs to everybody that you want to before we take off.
Yeah, big shout out to the Schueler family, everybody at Jagged X for giving me the opportunity. You know, racing works. You always want bigger. In racing, I'm always taught that you want bigger and better. And right now, the biggest UTV racing is in the desert, and the Score Series is pretty big. So for that opportunity, it's not easy to do it yourself. For the opportunity to come join their team is huge for me. And, it's been the highlight of my year mainly. Polaris Razor, the Brandon's car, it runs stock arms, stock radius rods, stock axles. So that stuff's so good, and I don't believe anybody else is doing that. We won San Felipe with stock parts, so that shows you how strong they are. But yeah, everybody that helps, my dad, it's a workload to try to get to all these races week in and week out. So everybody, and they know who they are.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, a lot of the same. Obviously, thank you, Cayden, for dedicating a bunch of time to this whole program. Couldn't do it without you guys, and obviously Miles, Pat is on here. My dad, all those guys that come to the races, our core crew that come to the races every single time are there for us no matter what. Couldn't do it without any of those guys. And then, like you said, Polaris Razor, that gives us an awesome platform, and all the other guys that help us out throughout our whole series. It's BFG Tires as one of our like sponsors, and Fox Shocks. So we have a great list of sponsors that are helping us out, and like I said, we couldn't do it without a single one of them. So huge props to all those guys that help us out all season long.
Yeah, for sure. And I know when you guys come off the track and you guys have that positive attitude, you guys have a finish, you guys have a well-maintained car. I know Brett Carpenter's smiling big time when he sees that. So keep up the good work, boys. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, we're going to sign off now, so we'll see you guys later. I'm just going to do the outro. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
Man, so cool to have these guys on. It's so rad to see Cayden with the fresh face, Brandon with all the things that he has going on. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I don't know if you can see, IMG looks like they were changing some oil this way over here with some Motul. Thanks to the guys at Motul for joining us, and KMC, EFX, Zollinger Racing, Solderweld, Cryo Heat, everybody that's been a part, man. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Brandon and Cayden. See you guys later.